I never got hot flashes, but I sure get cold.
Connor made it home.
Did you have a good time?
We had a great time. I can't wait to see the pictures.
Oh, I'm so excited to
Oh,
see
maybe
it.
he can-
I would love that.
Yeah.
Let me know when and we'll do it.
Okay, he definitely used your
I think
advice.
they're gonna be here, Claudia.
How do I say it? I've gone everywhere in the world alone in business and everything, and I learned long ago in Compton when I was a little kid.
Mhm.
You walk with purpose.
Yeah.
And you aren't making
That's
my
great.
hope. Everybody leaves you. alone.
Yeah, are you doing it? Yeah, I know most of this, but
They got
the,
groomed by a
um,
crazy lady.
but I know you guys have a little show and tell for.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm so
Yeah,
excited to hear.
thank you
it.
though.
I love,
I can, you want to include the pictures they got? I mean, they got.
I don't know,
photos because
You don't want to.
there had been a lot of people there with COVID.
Maybe we should.
They got to see it by the lights taken down a buffalo. We have.
Whenever you're ready. Okay, we're ready. Ready?
Ready?
no, not at all.
John, are you ready?
And then that. And so, did you get a car?
Like to call a meeting of the Rainbow Municipal Water District Board to order. And I guess ask everybody to stand.
For the pledge, yes.
Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Director Gasca,
Present.
Director Hamilton,
Present.
Director Mack is absent, Director Moss,
Present.
and Director Stewart.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item.
Number 11.
Adopting resolution number 2222, renewing state of emergency findings for Assembly Bill 361.
Yep, this is our standard monthly nonsense, so.
I have a mo-
Motion second and a vote.
I have a motion,
I so move. We
I
adopt it.
second.
motion and second by Director Stewart, Director Moss.
Roll call vote because we have one absent, one external voting member.
Director Gasca,
Aye.
Director Hamilton,
Aye.
Director Moss,
Yes.
and Director Stewart.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. The ayes have it. Could I get a report on any potential actions from closed session?
Yes, the board met in closed session to discuss 4 items. First, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9 D2. 3 items under that section. And the 4th item, appointment, employment, evaluation of performance, general manager pursuant to Government Code Section 54957B1. 1 item there. All 4 items were discussed and there is no reportable action.
Okay, thank you. Item 13, any additions, deletions?
None from staff.
None.
None for the board?
I have none.
Okay, thank you. So item 14, I got to
Yeah,
read this.
this one you would.
Are there public members attending?
Yes.
Okay. If at any point anyone would like to ask a question or make a comment and have joined this meeting with their computer, they can click on the raise hand button located at the bottom of the screen. We will be alerted that they would like to speak. When called upon, please unmute the microphone and ask the question or make comments in no more than 3 minutes. Those who have joined by dialing a number on their telephone will need to press 6 to unmute themselves and then star 9 to alert us that they would like to speak. A slight pause will be also offered at the conclusion of each agenda item discussion to allow public members an opportunity to make comments or ask questions. Okay, item 15.
I don't think we've gotten any written communication. Don,
We did not receive any written communication.
do we have any hands raised in the audience virtually or physically? No, we don't.
Okay, moving on to item 16,
All right. We got some fun stuff today.
employee recognition.
Employee recognitions. We're going to save the biggest one for last, but the first one we're going to start out with is Clem Taylor. Clem, are you? Clem is a U.S. Marine Corps veteran who came to work for us 15 years ago. He's one of our meter services technicians and one of the people who we get probably the most complimentary stuff from customers about Clem's service. He's always been super friendly and helpful to everyone in the field and does so every day with a cheer. He does have one big drawback. He's a Chargers fan.
Oh, wow.
Clem and I have an ongoing back and forth $1 bets back and forth that if you ever come out, you just
And he's been winning quite frequently, right?
20 nickels on one of them, another one with 10 dimes. That's from Clem.
Coming back.
While we were waiting for the closed session to finish up, we have another bet for the first week of the season. So either I'm going to get another strip of nickels on my wall or he's going to get one back. Well, thanks for all you do.
Thank
We got to get a picture.
Can we get one?
Over here. We're getting shined on by the.
And then don't forget the mic.
Oh, okay. Give me a hand, give me a hand.
Awesome.
Thank you. All right. Okay, next up is Jerry Kraft. He's where's Jerry? Oh, there's Jerry. Also 15 years. Yeah. Jerry was hired in July of 07 as a valve maintenance technician, but became a system operator shortly after. Has been a system operator for 14 years. Whoa. Trying to be. All right. What's the most amazing change you've seen in 14 years in system operations?
You coming to work here?
Oh, come on. Now you're better. Well, I think that there's been a lot of transitions on the amount of SCADA you guys have and on instrumentation and the new pump stations, but you know.
I'm lucky. I feel very fortunate to be able to work with such a talented group. So, yeah.
Well, thank you, Jerry.
job.
We gotta get a picture and we're gonna do this. Oh. All right, next up, Gerardo Cancino. Oh, I gotta pick this. You know, I got the notes they gave me. It says you started here as laborer, but I assume that meant U1. Was there a different categorization back there? Did we have?
No, there was an actual laborer job classification way back then.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know. But, you know, he's been moving up the ranks and a couple of years ago became another system operator and is learning the ins and outs of system operations. A little different than laboring. Yes, very different. What's the biggest change in the transition?
Well, for me now, my new position and seeing all the changes from a different side of the distribution.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting for sure. All right, we got a plaque for you. Yeah. Oh, we gotta find this today. Well, you know, last but not least, we have Ramon Zuniga with 30 years.
Woo.
Got to stand for that one.
Ramon was hired when he was a senior in high school in a Hire the Youth program. Come on over, come on over, come on over. Got a variety of different now. Are you on the slideshow now? We've got Ramon for the years. So there was a memorable moment that he shared. It says, vivid memories when he was a meter reader, they used to use VersaProbe handheld metering device, and it would do a whole report for whole route. And at times he had to do the back to the meter if there wasn't a correct read. One time he was so focused on just hurrying up and getting it ready, he didn't realize that he straight up laid his hand on a snake. So what's the most memorable moment in 30 years?
Back 30 years when I first started, different board members, employees, and now things have changed. That if I look back and reflect, it's been an honor. Secret friends.
All right, well, you know, he had some choices on. He had some choices on what he wanted for his 30-year commemorative gift, and he picked this one out. And pardon me, I'm gonna get fingerprints on it, so I have to clean it later. But I don't want to leave it in the box.
It wasn't a water meter, was it?
Ooh, a crystal ball.
Beautiful.
So don't drop that on your toe. Not while you're on work.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or at least at home.
But it's an amazing thing, and as always, we want to thank your wife and your family for sharing you with us, because we know without the support from home, it'd make it hard for you to do. Ramon has probably been on more emergency calls than anybody that I'm aware of, because he lives locally here in Fallbrook, and when something's going down, Ramon's almost always Johnny on the spot there to take care of it. Am I correct in saying that? And so we really appreciate the dedication to the district and what you do for us each and every day for the last 30 years. And when you're not even 50 yet, right? Dang. He's not even invested. He can't retire in CalPERS quite yet, you know. So 30 years, you're gonna have a great retirement when the time comes. You're not ready yet. That's right. Any other words?
Like I said, it's hard getting speeches, but like I said, people that I encountered here and there, they've been a blessing. I mean, thank you.
All I know is the Toastmasters works. There you go. Don't forget this, so you don't break that thing.
Appreciate it. You're so welcome.
Yeah, you got it. All right. That thing's heavy. Oh, I almost forgot. There's this. The money. Thank you, everybody.
Okay. Item 17.
If you guys want to hang around for the rest of the stuff, you're welcome to, but
All right.
if there's paint drying that needs to get watched, that might be more fun for you.
Thank you.
Good job,
You're
guys.
welcome.
And not even 50.
That's amazing.
I heard his wife.
That's
say,
awesome.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Mine told me, I married you for life, not for lunch.
Hey, just
When I tried to retire the first
when I'm
time.
working from home doing pandemic, I was like, why are you still here? My office is closed. She's used to not having me there.
Okay. Item 17. Approval of the minutes of June 28th.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of June 28th.
Second.
Okay, second.
Okay, moved by Pam Moss and Director Moss and second by Director Stewart. I guess he got ahead of you, Hayden.
No problem.
Director Gasca,
Aye.
Director Hamilton,
Aye.
Director Moss,
Aye.
and Director Stewart.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Item 18, Board of Directors comments, reports.
I have nothing.
Okay, item B, representative report for County Water Authority.
Last month, we had the Water Authority meeting where there were two substantive actions. One was the adoption of the rates and charges for the next calendar year, starting in January. In our May meeting, they had handed out a chart. We asked them, hey, how does this look per member agency? And they have both fixed and variable charges, but one of the charts showed the variable charges, the increases by member agency. And you look at the chart and there's two member agencies whose charges were going up over 8%. Fallbrook and Rainbow,
Yes, of course.
which I found to be odd. So I asked, I said, so what is the rationale between those? And the answer was, if you use a lot of PSAR and you buy treated water, not raw water, the cost, the way their cost structure is, the rates go up more for you than everyone else. And so my comment to that was, well, I'm sure our farmers will appreciate that the more PSAR water we use means our rates go up higher than other people, which is kind of stinks. So I voted against it. Obviously, I lost in that one and it passed. So the rates will go up as intended. But it kind of highlights how the structure of the Water Authority's rates doesn't land fairly on our area. Just because the nature of who we are, we kind of lost out. The second item was their mid-year budget adjustment. They do 2-year budgets. So this was, the adjustments made after the end of the first of the 2-year cycle. And most of the changes were pretty minor. It was pretty close, but there was a line item in there for $1 million for the regional conveyance system study, which is the multi-billion-dollar pipeline to the Colorado River, which many of us opposed when it came along. And so I made a motion to approve the mid-year adjustments on the condition that we pull that one line item out for a separate vote from the board, so that the board could consider that $1 million, whether it's based on what you see on what's going on in the Colorado now, that it's even more foolhardy to be wasting $1 million on it. That didn't go over super well with many folks there. But I got a second, from Director Thorner at Aleven-Hein, and so there was a fairly robust discussions. Later on, I relented. I said, okay, I'll just go ahead and make a motion to approve it on the condition that staff bring back a report on the status of the project. Meaning that we would hope to have, hey, where are we? We've already spent $3.9 million on this, or 3.3 million, I forget what the number is. What's the status of the report? Because we've heard nothing for at least a year on that project. There was discussion on whether we could discuss this project in open session or closed session, with Director Medaffer from San Diego saying, well, we're going to have to discuss that at closed session. I inquired as to why. This is a pipeline project, and he indicated that he believes it has something to do with the Met litigation and that it should go into closed session. So we agree that it would defer to council on that. I did see on the agenda that was just posted that there is going to be an open session discussion, but only on the financial accounting of it. But I hope we can discuss, what are the initial
think
findings of
Charlie
this
put that
study we
stuff
spent
in there.
millions of dollars on. As you recall, this is going to be a $4
Charlie
million
put that in there.
spend,
Did you
which
get
equates to
something?
about $20 out of the pocket
Pardon?
each and every one of
He
our
said he ordered something from a
to do a
chicken
study on
place?
something that we
I don't know
know.
about the chicken place. He apparently had ordered the stuff
Maybe you
that was
should mute.
left on the front door that I left on the
Hey,
counter.
Oh,
Hayden,
that was from
Can you mute?
CVS.
Hayden,
Yeah.
can you mute?
Or can you
But I
mute him?
just texted him and
Okay.
Yep.
He forgot he was on mute. Anyway, so we'll see. We'll see what comes up of that. So that was the report from last month's board meeting. We meet on Thursday of this month.
Okay.
Oh, one other thing, we had a special board meeting on the 14th for the selection of a new general counsel. The board selected a person. I can't reveal their name or anything. It was closed session. They're negotiating contracts. Hopefully Thursday we'll have a contract to vote on.
Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, as some of you met, the Water Authority's general counsel had him here when he came to our board meeting and was that early 2018 or 2017 about the flood down here. He's not a very pleasant guy to deal with. So I think that change is good in this regard.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments from board? Let's see, B2 CSDA. Can you address that, Tom?
We're having a conference, the dinner meeting is going to be in August at the 94th Aero Squadron. So we should be seeing the invite list come out for that pretty soon. The price is going up a bit. Everything's gone up. So I think rather than $40, it'll be about $60. But if you've been to a restaurant recently, you've seen it. So we're just fortunate to get a place because that place closed for a while again.
It's open again. Good.
Yeah. And so we'll be meeting there. And then next month is also the CSDA conference in balmy Palm Springs, Palm Desert.
You guys all enjoy that now.
Yeah. It's yeah. So I'm going to be going there on Monday. I'm sitting in a panel. I guess they're doing some sort of GM speed dating thing where they have some of the same GMs that were the leadership summit, which I was going
Yeah,
to
I
be at,
did
but
that. It was really fun. I got a lot out of it.
and so I'm going to be one of their folks sitting there speed, not speed dating. What do they call it?
No,
Speed,
it's speed
speed
questions.
coaching, speed
It's
coaching,
Speed networking,
speed networking. So I got to be there Monday by 3 o'clock. for
not
that.
dating.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, but it's like those speed dating things where you go from table to table, I guess, and you ask a question, then they ding, ring a bell, and you got to the next person. So, and then there's a luncheon that everybody who's able to should attend that week, where something may or may not happen that's super positive. For us.
Okay,
That's our CSDA.
yeah, 18B3, LAFCO.
LAFCO didn't have a meeting, although they did hold a meeting up in Ramona for a protest hearing for the transition of the fire service from Ramona Water District to Cal Fire and the County San Diego Fire Authority. And there was one protest received. So that is done. But the next full LAFCO board meeting will be the first week of August.
Are we on the agenda?
Not that I'm aware of, although I haven't seen an agenda yet.
Okay. B4, Santa Margarita Watershed. Hayden. You're on mute, Hayden.
Yeah, we muted you.
Okay.
Hey, there you are.
We had a meeting on July 19th. It was a typical meeting. We got a report from Matt and I'm speaking off the top of my head because my notes are in California, not in Wisconsin. Matt reported on Lake Skinner and Lake Hodges. Is it not Hodges? Lake Skinner and Lake
Diamond Valley Lake.
Yeah, Diamond Valley Lake. Diamond Valley, which is, I guess, the one that feeds us, is at 60% of capacity. There's been no measurable rainfall in the area to boost anything. And I think the canal moving water from Colorado is actually still under construction. Tom might be able to.
What about under construction?
Anyway, they feel they have enough water supply, at least for the next month or two.
Yeah, they've got
without anything. There was nothing to report on on Quirma, the Fallbrook and Marine Corps Conjunctive Use Project. And there was nothing to report on their other project from them. Actually, they're shut down right now for maintenance on their water treatment plant in Fallbrook. And the Indian bands, basically, it's still dotting I's and crossing T's to get it published in the congressional record, but it looks like that issue has been completely resolved. And the water master has managed to cut about $4,000 out of his projected budget for next year. That's Santa Margarita.
All
That's
righty.
pretty good off the
Next
top of your
meeting.
head.
Next meeting is in October.
All right. Thank you. Let's see, 18B5 Aqua. The only thing I have is Aqua Region 10 is holding a program at Olevenheim on the August 2nd at 9:30. The subject's conversations on leading for a resilient water future.
Yeah, the guy from Met who's going to speak there is very knowledgeable on Colorado River operations, so it should be
What date? August 2nd.
August.
Yeah.
And all the directors are registered for that,
All of them.
all of them.
Suppose I better go then. I think I'll be able to go. I might have been out moving children to their new homes, but I think I'll be free. So get registered.
Yep. That's all I have right now on Aqua. Let's see. 18C meetings, workshops, seminars, any reports from the directors?
I don't think we had any.
I've got one thing. I went to the Council on
Council of Water
Water
Utilities.
Utilities. The speaker was a Christopher Tull. He spoke on the role of data in water use efficiency. I got his card. Dawn, I think, got it to Ahmed. What he mentioned was, well, that organization, the California Data Collaborative that he belongs with, has about 7 or 8 districts or water agencies that are involved with it, and they're collecting data. And it sounds like they have a link to policymakers and how the language is set up for how the governor responds to drought. And one of the questions I asked was, when it comes to what cutbacks are done, how is that data used in order to help analyze that? And it sounded like one of the things I asked specifically about was, does ag play into, that decision of the cutback? And he said no. Okay, which was kind of a surprise to me. And then I said, well, what about those users that it may be a residence, but they've got 100 trees, 200 trees, whatever, their own, grove. And he said that if the district could make the analysis and determine how much on each one of those properties, okay, granted, it's, a tedious job,
Yeah.
but you could identify all that acreage, if you will, that was in agriculture, and separate the private use, your residential, then the amount you had to cut back would be shrunk. And so it seemed like it'd be worthwhile for Ahmed to get with them and understand that. And if there's a benefit to the ratepayers,
Yeah.
and the amount that we would have to decrease relative to, in general, what the,
Well, I think you just answered the question, because we were just talking about this while you were in closed session, because they're holding a data collaborative conference in Irvine next month, I believe.
17th and
And we're like, well, who should be the one to go there? And we had settled on Ahmed. So Ahmed, if you're listening,
Good job.
you're in. The trick with the state and that the data scientists are interesting and all, but the policy guys can also take some strange tangents. And one of the things that they've done consistently over the last several years is ask us to report on data that the legislature didn't grant them authority to request from us. And sometimes there's a cost, like you said, for that,
Okay.
for us developing this data. And I worry that data will be weaponized against us in ways that
Right.
they don't know and don't anticipate. So we give them exactly what the legislature has given them the authority to get, and nothing else, unless there's some clear benefit to us, because
Why aren't we not directing them to Flume?
well,
Flume has data,
but that's private data, right? And so they love the AMI. They want people to have AMI so they can get into customer data in the granular level and see whether you're watering on Tuesday or Thursday
Oh, God.
and all that kind of stuff, which we've heretofore said we don't want to be in that middleman position on data.
Position, yeah.
between the State and our customers. We want the customers to have the data and they can use the data, but if the state's going to try to weaponize it through the member agencies, that's a bad spot to be in. Well, that's right.
And it's a tremendous cost for us and the ratepayer.
And we'll have to see what the regs come down as with regard to if they do mandatory cutbacks, how that's going to look. We've got a pretty healthy number of accounts that are agriculture, and we were able to comply last time through very fastidious and careful analysis of our accounts and applying the right ones to the ag accounts. And so we'll have to see what the flavor of it looks like this time. The other option with those things is that it's $1,000 a day fine. And so that's $365,000 a year. And if the amount of time it would take to do all the data work and then have sales go down on top of it, it might be better just to pay them the fine.
Well, my thought was, sometimes it's a good idea to know what the fox is doing.
Well, yeah,
To keep them out of the hen.
that was exactly the nature of the email I sent around to say, hey,
Yeah.
I don't agree with a lot of this stuff, but we got to see what they're up to.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't able to make the cow, but I got a readout from some other folks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, let's see what they're up to. The state of California is so efficient and their use of data is so awesome. Oh, wait a minute. That's not right. I just, if I had more faith and trust, then I wouldn't be as worried, but it's just, the more information they have, it's bad enough that your credit card companies have it, but it's the government having it is
Pretty scary.
Yeah. Okay. 18D, any director comments?
Has anybody seen Lake Hodges lately? It's down almost 35, 40 feet.
yeah, they're doing work on the dam.
Is that I
Yeah.
looked at that and I went, oh my.
They're
God.
doing some work on the dam
Working down, yeah.
to repair some spalling concrete.
Wow.
So the water authority argued that
On
they could have
which
done it with
side?
divers. Both sides, well, on the wet side, yeah.
Really?
The water authority had argued that the city of San Diego, who operates it, could have done it subterranean with divers, but their analysis was it'd be better to get it up above water line. Clean it up. I mean, you can fix concrete underwater, but
It's not a good job.
it's better to do it above water for kind of practical reasons. The water authority sent them a bill for $3 to $5 million because they say they're losing out on hydropower or other water use revenue they could have gotten. And apparently it came out of the blue to the city, who were like, what's this? They're partners in this thing. And it's like,
Yeah.
Wow.
it reminds me of when that leak happened. They come and send us a bill for their thing. It's like, it's not a good way to treat one of your partners.
Or when we had the flood.
Yeah, the flood, right. And so some things don't change.
Thank you.
Okay. No other comments? 18E, legal counsel.
Thank you, Director Gasca. I did a written report and update on a recent water quality opinion from the Ninth Circuit. And it was actually an update from a case I did the year before, and the court did a rehearing. And this was the case that, it was a very troubling decision. It held the city of Vacaville liable under RCRA, which is a waste disposal law, the Resource Conservation and Recovery Act. The city's water, it met all, drinking water standards, Safe Drinking Water Act, all the MCLs and everything. But it had some trace levels of hexavalent chromium, the CR6, like in that Aaron Brockovich movie that came from a nearby wood treatment industrial plant. And the court said that, the city could be liable as a transporter under RCRA. And it just drove the water community. We were like, what is going on? It's a waste disposal law. It comes with like all of these sanctions and this very expensive, compliance requirements, as citizen supervision. So even if people don't have traditional standing, they could bring like an attorney general action just to protect the general environment. So it's just really troubling. So Aqua and the different industry groups got involved. We, affairs committee, we wrote an amicus brief. And so the court granted the rehearing and it actually reversed itself. And it's pretty remarkable because I don't think I've ever seen an opinion where the court just so expressly said, you know what, we got it wrong. There's one, my favorite sentence in the opinion is they say there's no reason we should be consciously wrong today because we were unconsciously wrong yesterday.
Wow.
That's a refreshing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Was that a court?
This is the Ninth Circuit. Yeah. Ninth Circuit, right.
They've been unconsciously wrong a lot.
That is true. So that was a very good decision. They said, to hold a water agency liable under RCRA, there would have to be some sort of direct and active participation in the waste disposal process. They'll have to have control over the actual waste disposal, not merely for delivering water when it's in compliance with the Safe Drinking Water Act and the other standards. So big sigh of relief. We don't have to worry about RCRA.
It could be the ads a few years back to that court caused it to balance out.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, on other general counsel news, I'm not sure if you know that one of Alfred's classmates from Harvard is now on the Supreme Court.
Yes.
California.
No, U.S.
Ketanji Brown Jackson and we were really good friends in the same class at law school. She married my fraternity brother who was also in our class. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Pretty amazing.
2 degrees
That's
separation
2
from the
degrees,
2 degrees separation from the Supreme Court of the United States. So right here in your little rainbows boardroom.
And she is the
We know who
nicest
to go
person in
to
the
if we
world
need
too.
some help up
That's
there.
right.
Yeah.
You know a guy.
Got
You know a guy.
got the bat line.
Oh, I did. I say that out loud. I should.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, on that note, 19 committee reports, budget and finance.
Chad, you want to relate what Flint sent across?
Flint had emailed and the Budget and Finance Committee did not meet.
Okay.
I also have the engineering and operations one, which actually has some updates.
Okay.
Then let's roll right into
Roll with
that.
that.
Unless Tracy has any comments relative to budget and
I
finance.
couldn't remember what we met on.
You
but
did.
it
And we
was
didn't
like-
meet.
Shoot.
We had already finished the budget. And
You missed
everything,
that
and so
meeting?
there was-
Oh.
It was a good break.
Okay, go ahead.
Engineering and
Yeah.
Operations Committee. So items 21 and 22 on today's calendar are recommended for approval by the committee. Item 23 had discussion and updates, but staff did not request the committee for recommendation. Committee was glad to hear the easement is resolved. That's on item 23.
Okay.
Okay,
That's it.
communications and customer service.
Working off the top of my head, the major thing was that Bill Shute has announced his intentions to resign from the committee, which
No, Russ Vernon retired.
I'm sorry, Russ Vernon. Yeah, not Bill Shute. I
What do you
apologize.
mean Bill's resigning too?
Yeah, no, Russ Vernon. And that brings us down to basically 3 members. So we're in desperate straits to recruit some additional members
Yeah, and that includes Cynthia as a member.
as a full-fledged member.
So we're actually, this upcoming meeting is having to be, because Cynthia is going to be out of town. We don't have enough people to have a quorum. And so I suppose if there's only 3 people on the committee, if 2 show up, that's a quorum. Is that a quorum?
That's a quorum.
I mean, I don't know. We hadn't thought about it that way, but it's.
Yeah, but Cynthia brings most of the information to the meeting. The other 2 guys are just kind of passive participants.
I know Cynthia's trying to get a mic to work. She may have some comments here.
Yeah. The other thing is we did discuss and had some feedback from a member of a different committee on a program that we're working with schools on to use the Rainbow Water District as a educational tour opportunity for essentially showing where your water comes from and how you get it. There seems to be quite a bit of interest in defining a program with the schools to do that. So we're excited about that. And that gives us an opportunity also to expose students to what the water district does and how important it is, and maybe even some recruiting opportunities there too.
Well, Hayden, to that effect, at our last Rotary meeting, I had invited Larry Sundrum, who's a former Rainbow board member from about 15 years ago, but also the former president of Prudential Insurance, and now he's retired, but pretty well-to-do guy, and he does programs on Camp Pendleton. But he was going to remarks on that on the memorial wall that we helped fund at the Rotary Club. But then Joseph Clevenger is the superintendent of schools also there, and he said, "Hey, and Joseph and I have something to announce as well." And they're forming a foundation. I think Larry's helped fund it to get the kids out into workplaces, and not just at the senior high school level, but also middle school. And they're working with Qualcomm and other things. And I'm like, hey, we just had a meeting on this like last week. So we're on the list now. So they were thinking along the same lines as we were for things. They're also looking to do scholarships and cash payments, not just as seniors going to college, but to some kids in certain areas, because there are certain kids that as soon as they're able to go work outside the house, they have to help.
Yeah, and
they're talking about, hey, stay focused on your classwork. Here's some cash.
Yeah,
studying and help them out, but also moving also toward vocational schools as
Great
well.
education.
And so we're like, we're right down the street. We've already got a program ready. Cynthia, did I characterize that correctly?
Yes, correct. That was the very encouraging thing about it is we did do some practice runs on this, and we've done a Take the Kids to Work Day, which required our staff to demonstrate some of the functions of our district. Some of the things we were talking about is keeping it here at the headquarters and how to engage the students in all of the different technology and all the different work groups that we have here. The vocational thing just hit it right on the nose for us. I think one of the things that is still left to get presented to the board will be the actual documents that we'll have the students and the teachers sign. We did bring that to the board, if I remember correctly, back in 2016. There might be some revisions that need to be done, and
Some
legal might need to
liability
take a look at
waivers.
that for our liability on that. Otherwise, I believe that we should be very, very ready to go.
Yes. But if anyone knows anyone who wants to serve on the communication committee, or any of you listening out there in the public, I don't know, does Craig Baldwin live in our service area? Because he's here all the time. Maybe he would want to join, but we need more folks on our communications committee, because we're with only 3 total. It's going to be tough getting a quorum every time, because as soon as one person can't make it, we're sunk.
And we did offer a little bit of a demonstration to previous boards. I don't know if you guys were all present at that time for some demonstrations. We will be offering the same thing to the committee members and the board to actually do the practice run, give us some feedback, and let us know how we're presenting these different items and what you get out of it. And we'll also be adapting those things for the different age groups as well, so we can work with the curriculum that the teachers have and make sure that it's viable within their structure of that age group.
That sounds really good.
I don't know if Hayden has more, but we did also have a really robust conversation with our meters and construction supervisor and our cross connection specialist in regards to our communication with customers regarding not only the purpose of the backflow devices, but also the option of having that removed. We have integrated a lot of what the committee brought before us into our communications with our customers, and it's becoming a really, really good platform for them to learn more about why they need that, and also to allow them an opportunity to find out if they're qualified, if their property is qualified to have that removed, and how that process will go. We are still elaborating on that as far as how much district time that might take and what we want to invest in making sure that if it's removed, it's also not tested. So we had a really, really good conversation that really launched a lot of communication, positive communication with our customers. We also talked about, since conservation is really ramping up, the best way to reach out to customers, get them engaged, and have them utilizing the rebates and the programs, whether they're free or close to no cost at all to them, to really get them engaged with that, and basically offering them, you don't just have to cut back. There are programs out there that can help you to actually, adapt your lawns into cactus gardens, beautiful structures. And also talked about the MAP funding, and I forget what that stands for, Tom, if you can remember.
Member agency applied funds or MAC.
It's piece, yeah. So anyhow, it's funds, and I made
Metropolitan funds.
the committee aware that Metropolitan does allow us. It's open every 2 years, so we have $15,000.
Member agency administrated programs.
There we go. And
That sounds like there's so
and
many
we'll be discussing more about how to utilize those funds. We will be offering to utilize some of it to put in 2 watering stations, some fountains for drinking fountains at 2 of the spots in Bonzel at the high school site and the middle school site. They're in desperate need of that. So that's already been tagged for them. And then also maybe promoting conservation by starting a little bit of a conservation garden out front, identifying the different species that they want to look for that are California drought tolerant, and how to get involved in those programs to go ahead and convert their.
Yeah, before anybody gets too excited about how generous Met is with the member agency administered
Yeah, we
programs,
talked
gotta
about
remember that we already gave them that money, and they're just giving some of it back. That money that came from our ratepayers to begin with, so getting it back, the least they can do.
Yes, and I think that wrapped up the meeting. Hayden, do you have anything to add?
No, thank you, Cynthia. I was again working off the top of my head with my notes 2,000 miles away. So,
But if we don't get more people coming into the communications and customer service committee, we'll have to, have some serious discussion to how do we do that? Because if it has to get delayed every month, or a lot of the time, there's a lot of staff work that goes into getting it ready, and we keep putting it out in our newsletter, but we just haven't gotten any take.
I'll reach out to that Gerd Valley group.
Yeah, see if they
and-
got somebody.
with Teresa Platt, and see if she might have somebody on their organization that might be interested. And then I can think of another group, or the lead of another group where they might take an interest in it and maybe have somebody.
That'd be great.
Thank you, Mick. That'd be great.
Yeah, I just want to do one, go back, you were talking about organization, the collaboration to try and reach back into younger kids. And when I was up in San Bernardino, I was pretty active in a Hispanic group, and we had started a program called Youth Education Motivation Program. And we had determined that you needed to get to kids a lot younger than high school.
Right.
And so that program focused on middle schools. We started in San Bernardino, and it was basically putting 2 professional types, whether it was a nurse, doctor, lawyer, dentist, fireman, into each middle school classroom. And eventually it grew and covered Rialto, Fontana, Riverside, Redlands, Yucaipa, in all the middle schools. It had legs for, I'd say, about 8 or 9 years, and then it pretty well burned out our organization. They just got really tired, but a lot of the schools kept doing it themselves. And
I
personally,
think that sounds like what they were talking about.
Yeah.
At the middle schools.
Mhm. I believe that's one of the most
Absolutely.
important areas, where you can get to
Yeah, you gotta
and
get
try to
everybody in
motivate the
school.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
They were under the same understanding that we have to get this stuff out to
yeah,
a younger set of, youth, and also the trades,
yeah,
to make sure
Yeah.
that they understand that, if you're not a college bound student, then there are other ways, and Palomar is a great resource for that as well.
yeah, right, yeah. Great, thank you. Let's see. Public hearing. This is item 20.
Item 20, yep.
Yep. Discussion and possible action to adopt resolution number 2220 to amend the 2020 water shortage contingency plan, WSCP, and to approve ordinance 2213 to update the district's drought ordinance to reflect changes to the WSCP district-wide.
Yeah, so in our urban water management plan, we adopted last year a water shortage contingency plan that went through a variety of revisions and some feedback from the state. But as we were looking at it recently, especially with the governors, we don't have to declare a level 2, but we're supposed to do level 2 functions. We noticed that there was an error that got left in related to how many days a week under level 2 people can water, which it used to be 3 days a week, but inadvertently it was set at 2 days a week. And in our area, 2 days a week watering isn't really going to cut it for folks. 3 day you can get away with. So this is really just to revert that back to 3 days a week. It's 2 days a week was out of line with a lot of the other agencies in our area. And this was just one line item in there that we felt needed to be adjusting. We posted notice of this 45 days ago. Was it 45 days ago? Notice on this, Chad?
This
Or is
is
it
a
30?
14-day public noticing.
But when did Malik post the, no, it was only 14
It was
days?
advertised on June 21st and June
June
28th.
Right, so it's been out there for a bit. And this is just going to amend our water shortage contingency plan in accordance with the tables that are attached there, and pretty straightforward. So once we're done with this, in order to comply with the governor's request, our customers shouldn't water more than 3 days a week. Most people don't anyway. At least commercial growers do, but most residential folks are still 3 day a week waterers. So
I noticed a while back that FPUD had posted something in the paper concerning the water shortage contingency, and
they chose to go
Level
to
two.
level 2,
Oh,
which
they
we
did.
haven't. We're still in level 1 unless the board really wants to. We're not required to go to level 2.
what would
Um,
be the trigger? That,
well,
that would force.
What the triggers are usually based on supply shortages. Oh, Don? Oh,
Oh,
does he have a
Sorry
script?
about that.
Sorry,
my fault.
sorry.
The public hearing for the adopting of resolution number 2221 to amend the 2020 water shortage contingency plan and to approve ordinance 2213 to update the district's drought ordinance to reflect changes to the water shortage contingency plan. All persons attending the meeting on site and remotely may indicate their desire to speak now. Everyone will be given an opportunity to be heard. All comments should be limited to 3 minutes in length. Please speak slowly and clearly. This is required because the meeting is being recorded for the purpose of preparing minutes, and we want to get your comments into the minutes correctly. This is the time for presentation of testimony. No debate is allowed. Dawn, are there any written materials that have been submitted or that anyone wishes to submit without speaking?
I did not receive any written comments on this item.
At this time, the floor is open for comments from the public. Are there any?
Ready? Ready?
Okay. Does staff wish to respond to any subjects raised or make any additional statements?
Not for this part of it.
At this time, does any board member have any questions of speaker or staff, of staff, I guess?
Do not.
Nope.
None.
And we have no audience. So there being no further testimony, I will close the public testimony portion of the hearing. Is there any further discussion by board members?
None. I move we adopt option 1 to make a determination of that action herein does not constitute a project as defined by CEQA, adopt resolution 22-21 and approve ordinance 22-13.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved by President Hayden and seconded by Director Moss.
Mhm.
We have a roll call vote.
Director Gasca,
Aye.
Director Hamilton,
Aye.
Director Moss,
Aye.
and Director Stewart.
Aye.
Thank you.
Yeah, and to the question of when we will go to a shortage level two shortage is when there's an actual shortage allocation given to us. Metropolitan hasn't done any allocation, or is the water authority. And so when we go to actual level two is when they say, hey, you guys have to take 5% less than that year, last year. That's when we start moving into our level one, level
Got it.
two sort of stuff. But right now, level one's just kind of just normal these days. But so we've got 6 levels and up to like 40 or 50% cutback, but those aren't in the offing at this point. So there's no reason for us to go to that spot.
Okay.
People are going to conserve enough as it is.
Well, if you look at the statewide drought map, we're not in a drought. San Diego is one of the few that isn't.
It's more likely that it's not going to be Met that allocates. It's going to be Sacramento.
Sacramento, yeah.
So throw everything else out the window at that point.
Okay. Any other discussion or comments? Good. Board action items, number 21. Consider award of construction contract in the amount of $839,850 with Ortiz Corporation for the Rainbow Water Quality Improvement Project, Water Main and Service Relocation Project in Division 5.
Chad.
Got it. And we went back in the record, and this is the longest recommended option, number 1 ever. Tracy helped me confirm that. A lot of legal stuff that had to be put in there. This is a construction project. It is in Division 5. The County of San Diego is going to be installing 3,400 linear feet of green infrastructure. They're going to be installing some stormwater channels to improve the groundwater in that area. The county's project is impacting 4 district water mains and approximately 21 service laterals, all of which need to be relocated in that area. District staff prepared the plans. Project was put out to bid. We received 2 bids on this project, and the Ortiz Corporation was deemed the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. Construction is starting at the end of August, should the board move forward with this construction agreement, and we have given the contractor 50 days to construct the project. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Did you clarify it's not about water quality?
Yeah, this is, I say it so many times, the one time I don't say it. The county's project name is the Rainbow Water Quality Improvement Project, and it's for groundwater in the Rainbow area. I cannot stand this project name.
Yeah, we wish they would have named it something.
And we're incurring costs because they want to cut through our mains and laterals.
Correct. Their channels and culverts that they will be installing impact us. And since they have the prior rights in that area,
We gotta get out of the-
all utilities, SDG&E, AT&T, and Rainbow Water have to move at their sole expense.
That's a pretty good deal. Create a project that the other guys have to pay for.
Yeah, it's a pain. It'll come back to bite them on Camino del Rey at some point here.
Yeah, Director Hamilton, to that note, when the county brings the district these projects, oftentimes, and in the past 3 to 5 years, they have expected the district to act immediately. And since we've been doing this the last 3-4 years, it is, you need to give us your 5-year CIP plan so we can incorporate it into our 5-year CIP and work with Tracy and the finance department. And so there has been a lot better coordination. They wanted this project done 2 years ago, but we need
Wow.
time to get funding and bidding and design plans. So we are having a better working relationship with them, and they're not just springing these projects up. But yes, it's a big chunk of change to move stuff.
Wow.
Are we getting any outside funding, or is this coming just out of the capital budget?
This is out of the capital plan. Yes.
Ouch.
Ouch is right.
So it took precedence over. What?
The engineering team and the CIP team, along with the GM, finance, and operations, we rank all these projects.
Yeah.
And so because of this, it actually was ranked relatively high. So, but yeah, there were a couple of those former projects that we want to do. Eagles Perch was one of them that had to get pushed out a little bit.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other discussion? Can we get a motion?
I move we accept option 1.
Second.
Yeah,
Okay.
don't try to read the whole thing.
Yeah, right.
Out loud.
I'm sorry.
It's
We
been-
asked Alfred if we could shorten.
Option 1 is stated.
Plus
Uh,
CEQA sort of stuff there.
Right. So it's been moved by Director Moss, seconded by Director Stewart to approve option 1 for item 21.
Yes.
Good job. I'll make sure it's all in the motion. Director Gasca,
Aye.
Director Hamilton,
Aye.
Director Moss.
Aye.
And Director Stewart.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 22, discussion and possible action to award a professional services agreement for the San Luis Rey imported return flow recovery project.
So Chad, if it's okay, I'll start this one off. This is an exciting project in that we've talked about it before in the earliest strategic plans, find local water. You know, there was some work done back, it was underway when I first got hired that was of questionable quality. We had some other consultants take other looks at it since then, but there was a little bit of a pause while we were working through the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act with all the actors in the San Luis Rey Valley and Palma Valley, trying to establish legal peace on the river for water rights, because one of the biggest challenges here is that Rainbow doesn't hold any water rights other than our imported return flow rights. And anytime you go out in that situation and you start looking to make a diversion, all the other rights holders are going to, you know, raise an eyebrow. And we were hoping through the SIGMA process, all the other rights holders in our area would get solidified. That never happened. And so we're going to have to go independently to do our project here without the benefit of another larger groundwater sustainability plan and project going in the region. So we've been talking about it quite a bit at our engineering and operations committee meetings, and put out an RFP that we developed with one of our other consultant who does these sorts of projects for other agencies. And we got essentially what they'll be doing is revising the hydrogeologic model that West Yost built for us, which had some significant challenges with it. They may just pitch it and start over. We're not sure. And then do some additional hydrogeologic investigations on the nature, quality, and volume of potential groundwater sources, not just here, this side of the freeway, but also up closer into near where the Pala Reservation is, and between there and here, to look for the most optimized places to extract water of the highest quality without impacting the yield of our neighbors around us. We had 2 bidders or proposers send it to us. One was Hoke Consulting, who we've heard a lot of that name a lot recently, but it's really, Hoke Consulting is put together what we like to refer to as a team of contractor or consultants, which includes the team that did the work for the Pure Water project in Oceanside, which is completed. So Woodward Curran, you've got Geoscience, and you've also got Shane Trussell, who's I've worked with Shane for over 20 years, the smartest guy as far as water quality you'll find. And so they're kind of like the dream team. Either any of those guys independently probably could have submitted on their own, but they chose to come at it as a team. Their price was higher than the others, but we were first looking at evaluating the merits of the proposal, and theirs was very good. Even so, we decided to interview both of the candidates firms, and we put together this little panel, which included the chair of the engineering operations committee, Flint. Flint spent an awful lot of time, and I want to thank Flint again for his work on this. And we had interviews with both of the teams, and we were unanimous on which team we felt was better prepared. You know, Geoscience does a ton of work in this area, in this valley. They're doing the work in the upper bays, and they've done work, it's Oceanside, they've done work all up and down this river on either side of us. And that kind of local knowledge is super helpful. The other folks are coming from out of town, and they're coming in and getting their feet wet the first time. Their price may have reflected it, but we could tell that they just didn't have their heart in it. We think that the price on the other firm was probably understating what the level of effort that's really needed here. The thing about it with this sort of situation is that, you know, this part of it is expensive, but even more expensive is building the pumps, the wells, the treatment facilities we need, and all the infrastructure associated with that. Would be probably tens of millions of dollars to build out a full project. You don't want to do that and have the document that serves as the basis of your legal rights to make those extractions be flimsy. This thing needs to be rock solid and unassailable, because if somebody does feel they want to challenge our project, they're going to go after this study to say that it's flawed. And so having the best of the best is good. Now, the price was high. I know that Amanda on our staff and Chad worked with them with some guidance from the E&O committee to bring the cost down. They saved about 12% off of it. And then it was still a lot, but what we did is we've added in additional off ramps, because if there's a fatal flaw found, we want to find it early so that we don't spend more money on it. And so there's several off ramps through this to where they do the initial investigation. There's a pause, and then we can come back to the board and say, hey, results look good or results not so good, and we can cut off additional spending. Or if results look good, move to the next level, and get to where we have a green light to go start drilling holes and making water. And so it was a challenging process, and it's more than we would like to spend, but we do know that there's a lot of consulting firms who write a lot of studies that get stuck on shelves and sit there. But this team here, there's a plant right down the road here producing water from the team that we want to help design the plant to produce water for us. That's working every day today. They're at the Pure Water facility in Oceanside. And so we're comfortable
Results
with the
map?
team. What's that?
Results.
Yeah. And the other one seemed more like an academic exercise as opposed to these folks. And I've worked with them both when I was in the public and private sector with people like Shane Trussell. When I was in the private sector, I'd be submitting with him as a team member on proposals and things like that. And you won't find a smarter person in this area who's more well respected. And so I think that the resulting product will give us it'll give greater comfort to our tribal friends and neighbors who are going to review this, because they're going to understand that it's high quality work, and it'll give us some comfort against specious lawsuits that might find an easy win with a somewhat flawed analysis. But it's a lot of money. We're talking about $600,000 for this phase of it. But if we do this right and we can acquire even some additional water rights, we're talking about producing anywhere between 25 and 50% of our water demands at the time this comes on board here locally, which would be tremendous. And that's the holy grail. Right now, we're 100% dependent on the Water Authority or Eastern and Met and everybody else. And we really got to, at some point, get there. I know it's been a long quest here at Rainbow, but Chad, what else you want to add to that?
The only thing I would add is the matter before the board today is for the professional service agreement for 600,000. Their overall contract is for a little over 1.1 million, but that would be where we would come back to the board. That's what Tom was talking about. We're not hitting fatal flaws. We have some more stuff and we want to continue proceeding. The matter would be brought back before the board.
With no fatal flaws that we're still going to spend with fatal flaws. We're still going to spend 600.
Correct.
Unless something pops up early on,
Immediately.
it's very clear that we go, whoa.
It does say up to 600,000. So yeah, it could.
And I assume that the kind of things that would be fatal flaws would be that they don't ascertain that we can get 5,700 acre feet of return flow, number one, or that the salinity becomes too heavy to be able to be treated.
Yeah, the brine is a huge one. We're hoping that through their analysis, they'll see the farther east we go, we can get less salty water and we'll reduce the brine impact.
Particularly if we could go up a little farther.
The farther east we can go, the better it gets, but that's all TBD. There is talk about, and I've been working with Fallbrook and Rancho Water in Temecula and Oceanside about applying for federal grants to build a new brine line coming from Temecula over the hill down to go into the ocean off of Oceanside. They want us for this project to be part of that, to bring a brine line up the 76, which, if you have to transport brine a long way, it usually destroys the economics of it, but they think that we have a pretty good shot at getting federal money for that. So
I was wondering if
that
there were
would be
grants.
terrific.
I threw the blurb in for it because, they want us to reuse this water, but until we can get rid of the brine, we just can't. Right. And so we'll see. So we've got our hat in the ring on that. As I always say, the feds and state are much better at taking our money than sending it back. So I don't usually, but we'll see. But yeah, those are things we want to analyze as part of this thing. And then, it could be that we can pull 5,700 acre feet of water. I doubt, we might get to that point, but you'll have to have 100 wells and all kinds of pipeline, which makes it not super cost effective. And so we'll have to see what the yields can allow. I think that there might be options between now and when a project goes to find some people who hold water rights currently who might want to sell some of those water rights. Or lease them in some long-term manner.
Their groundwater right.
Right. There are people here who have
There are.
their diversion permits that are valid pre-1914 diversion permits.
Yeah.
Paperwork's been filed every year for 100 years and of significant quantity. There's thousands and thousands of acre feet of active water rights along the San Luis Rey right in this area.
Yeah.
And so we have to make sure we're not going to impact those rights holders. But, you know, there might be a point where some of them who are getting ready to retire or whatever, or maybe that land's going to be slated for development as opposed to.
Most of them don't
agricultural
even
uses.
know what they have.
We've got a catalog of who's got what. It's all on the state database. I got a map.
No, I get it.
A lot of people think they have water rights,
Oh,
but in the San Luis Rey, south of this side of the Fry Creek, you have to have a diversion permit to have rights. You want to get into subterranean stream and unpercolating groundwater discussion, Alfred can talk about it all day, but there are people who think they have rights, but
I understand that. Having been in the title business, we used to search water rights a long time ago.
they think they got it. So that's kind of where we're at. I think there's been a ton of work trying to get this contract right sized. We talked about, should we just pitch it and go back out to proposals again and see what we get, and there wasn't a whole lot of benefit of that, because, you know, one of the things, especially after talking to the consultant, is that the cost is the cost. They're doing high level expert work for us, and it's insane what the cost is. But if we put it back out, there's a chance that the team that we really want, which are the people who have local experience, proven experience right here in this valley, may choose, well, man, we're tired. Those guys blew us off. We're not going to propose. Or if they did, they just send the same proposal back in, you know, because they know they're the best selection. And so we didn't see a whole lot of benefit to re-proposing it. So they just negotiated what we could, put in some additional off ramps where we have, and the number was in line with what we had put in the budget for this year. And so
Yeah, we have the new water sources fund. So we've
and
been
it's also,
planning
yeah,
for
it's a
this,
fund that's been in our
Set aside funds every year for this specific.
hoping for this.
I just have one comment. That is, I was on the board for 3 years, from 16 through 18, and then off the board for 3 years, came back on, and it's been almost a year. And we're still talking about this.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I remember the presentation we had on the desalinization possibilities.
Yeah,
from
yeah,
one
yeah.
company, and
Yeah. Oh, Brent Allspot.
from Brent, and it was a friend of mine. Any rate, I'm just saying, I think that this is stayed alive because it's worth looking into. It's worth it.
It ain't easy.
It's not easy. And if it takes 5 years, it would still be worth it.
Yes.
Because down the line, some kind of, independent supply would just be worth a lot to the district and to the area and
Right.
to agriculture here for sure. So.
Well,
And with the cost of water going up from imported costs, these things that 6-7 years ago, oh, that's going to be $2,000 an acre foot. We can't afford that. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a wholesale rate now. So,
Yeah, I think,
oh, hey,
I mean, you look at the numbers, and it's like 20-25% of our annual consumption,
which is going down.
yeah.
which is going down. But I mean,
Oh, yeah.
And so it could be greater than that by the time we get there, but
we get there. Yeah.
so that was my
So,
observation.
yeah. So, I mean, I just want to again thank Flint. I don't know if he's listening in or he just can make it at all. And Malik and the rest of the team and
Amanda.
and Amanda. I don't know if they're all listening, because they did a heck of a lot of work to get here. And we're excited to get it going. We're excited to work closely with Paula and our other tribal friends and partners and neighbors on this to make sure that they're on board with what we're doing, and we're definitely respecting their rights and won't infringe on them in any way. But it's unfortunate there's going to be legal matters going on to the east of us, and we had hoped to have all that settled before we got into bigger spending on this, but we just can't wait. That could take decades now. Who knows?
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions for staff? Okay, I'd point out option 1 is determine the action defines that it does not constitute a project as specified by CEQA. Approving the agreement with Hope Consulting is not to exceed 600K, and it authorizes GM to execute the PSA. And then
I
option
second.
2 is provide other direction. So I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Nice.
I move option 1.
Okay.
I'll second.
Second,
Okay. Motion by Director Stewart, second by Director Hamilton. And the motion is for,
To approve option 1
One. Yep.
okay, to approve option 1. You gonna vote?
that you read.
Yeah.
Director Gasca,
Aye.
Director Hamilton,
aye,
Director Moss,
Aye.
and Director Stewart.
Aye.
Thank you.
Wow.
Okay. That done. Go forward and find us some water.
Let's go. I'm sure
Um,
Chad's sending Adam a note now. So get to work.
Let's see, item 23, discussion and possible action on request to quit claim an easement on APN 126-050-72-00 and APN 126-050-73-00 near Via Puerta del Sol, Division 2.
Two.
Yes. Yes, so we were contacted by the Newtons who own two parcels, and the district has a 20-foot wide easement which crosses these two parcels. And as they're getting ready to build on it and looking at their title report, they noticed that it was labeled as a proposed 20-foot wide private utility easement. It was reserved for us for future water or fire protection. The Newtons asked the district staff to look at it. Do you actually need this, or is there anything here? Do you plan on building anything? So we sent employees out, we field verified, we pulled as-built, we met with the different departments. There are no facilities there. There are no facilities planned to be there. And so staff's recommendation is to quit claim this back to them, allowing them to be able to bid on that and not have an easement on this parcel. So staff is recommending option one. Happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
So I happen to know the Newtons and recommended that they get in touch with Chad along with their surveyor Dale Green. And just to give you a visual, the road actually ends before you even get to those two parcels. They actually own three parcels on via Puerta del Sol. And these are the two parcels that actually back to another property that's in front of them. So there's no throughway to those parcels. And there would be no reason, there's nothing below them that anybody else owns. So there's no reason for them, for that easement to be there.
Yeah, I mean, normally when we have an easement, we're not readily willing to give it up, but in this case, there's no use for this easement.
Okay.
So where is this?
It's right around where, you know, where Via Puerto del Sol has that little thing in the middle of the road, and you make a right and you turn right and then you go down towards you.
Are you coming up from North River Road or up from Camino del Rey?
Olive Hill.
Or- Huh?
Olive Hill.
From Olive Hill?
Yeah. So you come up Olive Hill and you make a left on Via Puerto del Sol and you go straight up and around the corner, and it's when it curves around that corner.
Curves around the corner and goes to the island, to the little triangle where
Yeah.
Valle del Sol
Yes,
cuts
yes.
across.
And then you make a right, you make a hard right where the red barn is. And it's at the end of that where it turns and makes an immediate left. There's no throughway in there.
Okay. No problem. If we don't need it, we don't need it.
Okay, any further discussion? Pretty good. Entertain a motion.
I move that we accept option one on item 23 to quit claim the easement.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved by Director Moss, seconded by Director Hamilton to quit claim the easement per item 23.
Director Gasca,
Aye.
Director Hamilton,
Aye.
Director Moss,
Aye.
and Director Stewart.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Item 24, discussion and possible action to approve ordinance number 22-15, amending and updating administrative code section 1.2.20, conflict of interest.
Yeah, this is a housekeeping item for some of the new job descriptions that were done over the last budget cycle to add them to our conflict of interest code where they have to do their Form 700. So this added a couple folks to the list of folks that need to have or fill out a Form 700.
So this is
Administrative
bookkeeping.
analyst position, manager analyst, and the accounting supervisor positions. This is just kind of a housekeeping, which we do periodically. If there's changes in job descriptions and whatnot that we analyze whether they need to, they're subject to the state laws on those. And so these two were determined to be subject to them.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Pretty straight.
No.
entertain a motion.
I would move that we approve the update to the administrative code. As
Option one,
as-
approve ordinance
option one's
2215
the
is,
only option. I think.
Yeah, only got option one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Sure. So it's been moved by Director Stewart, second by Director Hamilton to approve item 24, the conflict of interest administrative code section. All those,
Sorry, I didn't provide an option two on that.
that's okay.
Director Gasca,
Aye.
Director Hamilton,
Aye.
Director Moss,
Aye.
and Director Stewart.
Aye.
Thank you.
This is moving pretty fast.
That is.
Item 25, board member requests for authorization to attend meetings and conferences.
I think everybody who's going to CSDA signed up and Aqua's still a couple months away. So
What time is the CSDA start?
with a date or
No, the second.
22nd of August.
yeah,
Is there a conflict with our board meeting or
We
not?
knew-
Or is it the week
we
before?
knew it was there when we started the calendar.
The
so
30th
Dawn-
now.
Yeah.
Right,
Or
so the
29th.
board will meet on August 30th to avoid any scheduled conflicts
Right.
with that conference.
Let me see here. August. I don't know the
I'm not
exact
sure the
time, the
time.
start times. I have to look at it. I've got to be there. Usually Monday morning, there's not much. Usually it starts in earnest on Tuesday. I haven't seen the full agenda yet, but we'll take a look at it. But
Yeah.
I've got
It-
Monday.
I had looked at the agenda, Tom, and it's pretty much as you say, there's like a preliminary thing for some people and special, like the general manager's training and things like that. And then the full conference kicks in on Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday and Wednesday are it. There's usually has the Wednesday night thing that
Gala, yeah,
gala, and then there's a Thursday morning breakfast. but
right.
A lot of us are probably just going to bail out Wednesday afternoon. But that's my plan. Go in Monday, be out Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, I'll just be there for the Wednesday.
Yeah.
Or it's the way it's.
Wednesday is
we
the,
talked about that.
Okay, we need to make some
Are
changes.
you going out for
may
just
have-
Wednesday
I think so. I got to do a double.
for the luncheon?
Yeah.
For the luncheon? If you go only Wednesday, I would like to go. Otherwise, I don't, I
Right.
can't go be gone all
Yeah.
4 days,
Yeah.
3
I'll
days.
get with you after the meeting.
yeah, so we'll sort that all out as we
Yeah.
go.
And
Yeah.
also, Director Mack had requested registering him for the Aqua Conference, and it's not available to do that quite yet.
Yeah, yeah,
Towards the end of the year. So when that becomes available, I will do that.
yeah. That we're still a little bit out. It's not even open yet. So
Okay.
So that's-
With regard to our August 30th meeting,
mhm.
I'll be gone, so I
Okay.
won't be in attendance for that meeting.
All
I
right.
won't have Wi-Fi.
I'll hopefully be back.
Are you looking at taking up permanent residence when you
Hey,
retire?
we have rain here in Wisconsin. Yeah, it's stuff that falls out of the sky that we don't know about in
Free
California.
water for everybody.
Really?
Yeah,
Bring it back home.
Describe. it.
yeah. Of course, it came along with 80-mile-an-hour gusts, but
Oh, boy. Hell of a weather for an airplane show, huh?
Of flying.
well, yeah, our tent camping.
Oh,
Yep. Okay, board information items. 26, receive and file information, financial items.
I don't have any further comments here. Robert is, I think he's online, but he's laid up. He
Yep,
had close
I'm here.
exposure to COVID. Any comments, Robert, on your end?
Just want to let the board know that the district staff has completed all the meters as part of the What's Up project. So we are officially done with it.
Large ones are
Both with Concord and in-house.
done.
Fantastic.
We should
So
have our water
kudos.
loss data pretty quick here. I know that
Unbelievable.
this month's reads get added in to figure out what our June 30 or July 1 to June 30 water loss is. So I should have that data next week or so.
Oh.
So we'll see how that
Cool.
down we go, how low we went.
Oh,
All
And
right.
that's all I have.
I don't know if you guys saw, there was a leak over on, over by the middle school, the elementary school over the weekend, a 2-inch. connection was hooked on top of the pipe, and it was a 160. How high was it? Was it PSI out there, Robert?
To where that was 233.
Blew straight up, and a geyser up into the air. And then unfortunately, some of the asphalt chunks went through the sunroof of somebody's car nearby.
Oh, God.
We don't usually build them with them pointed straight up for that reason, but here in Rainbow, we have. But also the problem when you do that, then you put a valve on it, then you got to put a 9 down it. Now you got something sticking a foot above the water main, and it tends to be what any contractor.
What road was that?
Camino,
I th- okay, I thought
Camino
I saw
del Oeste.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it was North County Fire tweeted it out, and I tweeted out one of Robert's pictures of the leak, but yeah, could have been worse, but it was no fun.
It wasn't my car, so I'm okay.
Yeah, but they've already given the person the claim forms. We'll make it right.
Yeah.
So that's-
Okay. Let's see, engineering comments.
We filed a report. No further comments.
Okay. HR and safety.
Arlene, any
Arlene,
to add?
Nothing additional.
you're good?
Yep.
Okay. Finance.
We're deep in year end and audit, so I appreciated the break this month.
All right. That's it?
So
Go ahead.
27.
Yeah, we can.
Yep.
I'd like to get an update on the grant program and what's going on there.
Yes, Amelia is working on that. We're going to have running it through the committees, and we'll have it to the board on the 30th. And so
Perfect.
that came up during one of the
Engineering operation.
engineer operation committee meeting. There was some
Good.
confusion over to exactly what the status of that is. So she'll be able to put on a nice presentation. She's built this amazing grants portal in our SharePoint site for providing information to all the senior staff and for everybody to work on grants together.
By the way, there is another grant program that I heard about regarding just like district or public properties and high density housing where you can bypass all the CEQA requirements.
Yes, there are some things that the legislature has put out that allows for some of those things. And once we,
Well, this is federal grant money.
grant money for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely.
Have her
once we
take a
get our
look.
project going, it'll be on the list of troughs to go try to saddle up to and see if we can get some dough.
Okay. I guess Ahmed will probably have come back from the from that data conference.
The data, the
That'd be
California Data
interesting-
Collaborative.
Interesting to hear what
All right.
he has to say about that.
Ahmed's monitoring. Ahmed, he responded. He'll be going to that, and then
Yeah.
maybe he can give a quick report on that. Is
Okay.
that a thumbs up, Ahmed?
Any other
Next month, there's Chad, I'm sure there'll be some engineering stuff coming.
Yeah,
through.
we have a pretty good engineering and operations committee agenda, and so most of those will come our way.
I've got a procurement code update that brings it in line with the federal requirements for when we take that kind of funding.
Oh, okay.
Also, there'll be a variance for a customer.
Okay. Anything else from the directors?
No, sir.
Hmm.
Ahmed just said he'll have something for next meeting. Look at that. Mick gets these meetings going along pretty quick.
2:30, not bad.
I can
Good job.
adjourn at
Yeah.
2:31.
Nice.
Oh, my wife will be happy.
4:32.
Thanks a lot.
Enjoy Wisconsin.
I'll try. Actually, the weather's pretty nice now. It was like 90 on the weekend, but it's running mid-70s and
Oh, nice.
not too bad.
Nice. Well, enjoy.
But that was my.
Thanks for making the time, Hayden.
Yeah.
My pleasure. Yeah.